Hi everyone, this is Lydia with Printable Perfection. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a word search puzzle using Microsoft Publisher. So to get started, we're going to go down here and open Publisher. Now I like to do mine on portrait mode. You can use landscape, but for the sake of today's video, we're going to do portrait. So I'm going to click that one and get this fresh document. Now the default is with a 1/2 inch margin. You may want to change that. I know on my printer it will cut off the very bottom piece. So let's do that just so I can show you how. Let's go into page design and we'll go to margins. And right now it's set at moderate. Let's do wide. And so you see everything that we create is going to be within this blue box, which it won't show up when you print, the blue box won't. That gives us a guide as to where to keep our things. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Now, the first thing we're going to do now to start working on our puzzle, first you need to choose a theme. What is your puzzle going to be about? If you're a teacher, it can be vocabulary words from the lesson. If you're a mom just wanting to make some fun things for your kids, it can be any random topic. I'm going to do birds. I just chose that for this video. So first, let's go up here to where it says draw text box. I'm on the home tab. I go to draw text box and I'm going to make a text box. Now you'll notice if I click the side over here on this line and move it, that line shows up at the top. See, now it's gone, now it's there. That tells me that it's aligned to the side margin. So I'm going to do that on each side just to get it nice and lined up. That means it's lined up on all 3 margins. Okay. So I'm going to type in the title of my word search is types birds. But as you notice, that's pretty small. We really can't see that. To make it a title, we want it nice and big. So let's go, if I go up here, I can either drop down this box and change the font size, right? Or I can click this one and it takes it up one size at a time. And I do that so I can kind of see as I get a feel for how big it's going to be. Let's do that one. That looks good. But I don't want it off in the left corner. I want it centered. So I'm going to go up here. These move the text around in your text box. I want it top center. There we go. There's my title. Now, one more thing to consider when you're making printables to sell. Okay, you can't just go in here and pick any font you want and say, I'm just going to use this one and I'm going to put that on something to sell. Because you have to make sure that your fonts have commercial use license. Now, I'm honestly not sure. I've never looked at Publisher which ones of these you can use. I've gone online and I've found ones that I know are safe for commercial use and I've downloaded them. I'll have a whole separate video about how to do that. So if you don't know how to find commercial use fonts or graphics, look for my videos for that. But for today, I'm going to assume that you know how to do that. And I have chosen one that I installed that I really like is called Teen. That's just a nice, nice, clean, easy to read font. So I'm going to use that. I know it's commercial use, so I'm good to go. I'm going to shrink down my text box so it's just the outline of what I need. I don't need it any bigger than that. All right, I have my title, Types of Birds. Whatever your subject is, you would put right there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is come up with my word list. I typically do these for younger children, so I would only have maybe 10 or 12 words to find. If you're doing it for older kids or putting it together for an adult function, you could use a lot more. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to use 10 for the sake of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and format my box first before I put my words in. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to type in teen, and it's going to show up, and if I hit enter, it changes the font to teen. 10 font's too small. Let's try 16. I'm going to update my arrow to 16. And then I'm just going to start typing in my words. So types of birds. There's robin, there's crow, how about a blue jay? We've got maybe penguin. What about sparrow? Maybe, oh, wait a minute. what do you notice? Right here. So I typed in sparrow, hit enter, but there's no more room in my text box. So this red is showing me that now anything I type is not going to show up. It's outside of my text box. To fix that, right now, I'm just going to make my box bigger. Okay, so that way I can see all of my words. So then I'm going to do cardinal, flamingo, parrot, toucan, and canary. Those are my words. Those are what the kids are going to have to find. Okay, now there's a couple of options. I could just put those over here on this side and have a big grid here where the words would be. And you could even, if you did more, you could fill up this entire side with words and have the grid over here. I personally have always done it where my words are on the bottom. Doesn't really matter. But right now, we're going to do it that way. So I'm going to make this wider. Okay, so I've got my words. I don't want my box that big, obviously. I'm going to want it smaller. So what I do, as you notice again, when I shrank that, it cut off my bottom words. So I'm going to go up here. Make sure my text box is highlighted. And the text box up here is highlighted. I'm going to go to columns. And I'm going to make 2 columns. There. That way all my words are visible. And because of the size, I've got an even number in each row. I like that. But I don't like that these are on the left and that there's a huge space over here. I want it centered. So again, I'm going to go up here. These are my text box formatting. I'm going to make them center. Oh, what do you notice? I had my cursor only by one of the words, and so that's the only word that it's centered. So if I click in my text box and then I hit the Control A, that's going to highlight everything in that box. Now if I go up here and hit center, it centers all the words. That's what I want. That looks good to me. Okay, so I've got my title, I've got my word list. Now I'm ready to put in my grid. So I can put the letters where you're actually going to find the words. To do that, I'm going to go up here to Insert, Table. Now, by default, you can only make a 10 by 8 table. So I start with that, but I want it bigger. Well, first, you notice it's too wide, and that's okay because I'm going to shrink it in a few minutes. But I'm going to do, I think, a 15 by 15 table. That gives me plenty of room to put my words in and have some extra space. So right now it's at 10. So I'm going to go up here where it says Insert Right, and I'm going to put 5 more rows in. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can shrink the entire thing down to fit on my paper. So what I'm going to do is highlight it again. I'm going to go up here to width. Now I know that the width is going to be 6.5. I'm pretty sure. Because if it's 8.5 and I've got an inch margin on each side, that should make it 6.5. So I go up here to width, type in 6.5, put enter, and then I'm going to move it over, and sure enough, that fits, oops, within my margins. Okay, and as you see, it fits in perfectly because both sides are lined up with the margin. Okay, so I've got 15 rows going across. Now I need 15 down. So I'm just going to pick any box. It doesn't really matter which one, but I'm going to go up here to Insert Below and click that. Now, remember when I did my default, it was 10 by 8. If I want 15, I need to do 7 more because 7 plus 8 is 15. So I'm going to click this 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I lose track? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops, I need one more. 15. There. So now I've got my grid. As you see, let me zoom in so you can see that a little better. There's my grid. Okay, it's a little close to my words here, so I'm going to highlight it. You can move the grid around on the page freely. Now, if you notice, can you see on the screen? Let me get it. There we go. There's a pink line running right down the middle of the paper. That means my grid is centered in the center of my paper. And the pink line running across the top means that the top of my grid is touching the bottom of my text box. That's fine. I will leave it there. That looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to format my grid so when I type in my letters, they look the way that I want them to. If I don't, the default is Calibri and it defaults to the upper right-hand corner. I don't want that. So I'm going to click in that first box. While I'm holding down, I'm going to highlight, just drag my cursor across every box. Now all the boxes are highlighted, so whatever formatting I do will affect all of them. I want to go back up here to Teen Font again, and I'm going to do 10, let's see, 11. Okay, it's not working. Sometimes with Publisher, it kind of drags. Let's try a 16 font and see if that's too big to fit in my squares. I think that'll be fine. One thing I forgot to do, I'm going to highlight every square again because I want to go up here to Layout and make it centered. That way in each square, my letters will be right in the center of the square. Okay. The other thing I like to do, you can choose. You can either make all of your letters lowercase or you can do them all capital. I like to have caps lock on and just make all of the words in my grids, all the letters in my grid, capital. So you turn on caps lock and now it should be formatted and ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is just randomly insert my words, okay? I may want to go here and type in the word Robin. Now, if I just type it, it's going to put all of the letters in the same box. So after each letter, I need to either hit the tab or the right arrow. The arrows move you through the grid, so I usually just use the arrows. So I put O, arrow, B, I, N. So there's my word Robin. Now, I just go down the list so I don't forget any. So over here, I think I'm going to do crow at a diagonal. So crow, then I'm going to do down and over, R, down and over, O, W. Blue jay, let's do across here, B-L-U-J-A-Y. Now, you can choose to overlap some of your words. For example, I may put parrot off of this R. I went over instead. I need to go down. A-R-R-O-T. So you see I use the R from Robin to make the word parrot. You can overlap them if you want. You can put them all separately. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to pause the video and insert the rest of my words. All right, so I've got all my words put in the puzzle, but as I look at it, I'm not really happy with it because if you notice, all of my up and down words are up here, all my sideways ones are down there. I think I need to change it. So what you can do, I wanted to show you this. I can highlight one of my words, and if I hit Control X, it cuts it. And then if I go into a different square and hit Control V, it pastes that word somewhere else. So that makes an easy way to kind of move your words around. Like let's say if I leave sparrow here, but I decide I want parrot coming off of the word sparrow, off that P. So I just cut that part and put it here, and now I've got my P from sparrow with the rest of the word. So I don't need this P, but that left me without my R for Robin, so I need to go back and put that. So now I've got, a couple of words going up here. I don't like how close blue jay is to that word, so I'm going to move it maybe over a couple, and let's move Robin down. There, just so I can kind of space out my words a little more so they're not all right there on top of each other and harder to read. So that's a little better. They're a little more random. Try not to overthink it. I tend to do that. Like I just keep moving it and trying to fix it, but there comes a point when you have to just say, okay, that's good. I can leave it like that. Okay, so we've got our words plugged into the puzzle. Now, what I do is I go through and I make every word red, and I'll explain why, or maybe green, a color that's easy to see. So I highlight the word. This is my font color. I'm going to go down here and pick red. And I'm going to do that for each word because Then when I start filling in my letters, or yeah, my random letters to fill in the rest of the puzzle, I can see where my actual words are, and I don't accidentally type over any of my words, because it would be no fun getting a puzzle where one of the letters is missing and you can't find the word because, the person who made it accidentally deleted one of the letters. That would be frustrating, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm almost done. I'm almost done. All right, so we're almost done with the letters. All right, and then once we finish this, we are ready to just start inserting random letters. Okay, so you just go into each box and you put a letter, and then having the red ones, okay, I don't need to fill in anything there, and you just go across and just type in whatever letters. Now, you want to be careful because you don't want to accidentally spell out words that you shouldn't. I know one lady I was watching said that she only puts consonants in her word searches, so she doesn't make any mistakes. I put in vowels. I just try to be careful where they go and just, kind of randomly go. And I do try to make sure I don't have like 5 of the same letter right there together. I try to sort them out. Okay, see, I put a J, but there's a J right there, so I may want to change that. Let me just make it an M or something like that, and then we'll put an E. And so you go through the whole puzzle. Now, admittedly, for me, this is the most tedious part. So for your sake, I will pause it again and finish that up and then come back when I'm done. All my letters filled into my puzzle, but you can still see the red ones where my words are. So I tend to just go back through them, make sure they're correct, like I didn't accidentally type over any of my letters. They look okay. I think I'm fine. So now we're ready to just finish. Maybe if we want to add any pictures or embellishments, we can do that. And then we also have to change it so that all of our letters or words are not red, so that you actually have a challenge finding the word you need to find. But I don't want to just make these black because I like to include an answer sheet. So we're going to format it first, and when we're completely done, we'll add an extra sheet and change the letters. One thing I like to do is put a little picture down here underneath between my word list. So as I mentioned with the fonts, when you're doing images as well, you have to make sure that they're commercial use license. And I'll do a separate video on how to find those. But in the meantime, I know that I have a set that I'm just going to show you how to insert them. So and then we can talk about where to find them later. So this is a file that I have of images that I've purchased. I know these are for commercial use. I'm going to go to animal. Down here I've got birds on branches or colorful birds. Let's try colorful birds. What's this? Okay, I want to do a PNG because a JPEG is going to have a white background where the PNG does not. So I'm going to go into PNG. Oh, these are cute birds. Let's do the blue one. Oh, let's do this blue one. He's cute. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go up here. This one is copy. Then I'm going to click back in my document and go up here and click paste. And there's my bird. And anytime you insert just one image, it's going to make it huge. So we're going to need to resize that by going to picture format. Let's make it about 2.5 inches and see if that's good. Let's see if I insert that down here. Now, if I move it, can you see? Let me zoom in. When I move it back and forth, you can see there's a pink line right down the middle. That means it's centered with the chart above it. So that's good. It's right in the middle. That looks good. I like that. So let me zoom out. Yep, that looks good. Look at that. That's a really nice word search. You could add, like just for fun, let's actually make this a hair smaller. Let's make it 2. We're going to center it or put it right there. Let's see. It doesn't really matter. Let's just get him. I want him centered. Let me see. If I zoom in, can I center him in the middle of my page? There. There, that's centered. Okay, so I've got that bird up there, down there. Let's add a couple here. So I'm going to go back to my file. This time I want the orange and the green bird. So I'm going to click one, I'm going to hit Shift and click the other, and that'll let me highlight both. And then again, I'm going to copy. I'm going to go up here to paste, and there's my birds. These I want really small. I'm going to make them, let's do 0.75. And then this green one, I'm going to put over here facing my letters. And this green one, orange one, I'm going to put over here. Now you notice it will move the text as you position your image, okay? Because of the layering and the way all of that works. But it worked out in the end. It looks fine. I think that's good. So I'm happy with that. The one thing I'm going to do is put a line, a border around the entire picture. To do that, I'm going to go up here to Shapes, click my rectangle. Starting over here in this corner, I'm going to make a rectangle that is the size of my margins. And as you can see, up here, if you look right there, when I move it, those lines appear. That shows that it's aligned with the margins. Then I'm going to go to Shape, Fill, and put No Fill. Now, it messed up my words here because it put it on top of the text box, but if I click it and go to Send Backwards, Send to the Back, it makes that the very bottom layer, and so everything else is on top of it, and everything looks good. Okay, I think I'm pleased with that. I mean, you can embellish it with as many pictures, graphics, whatever as you want. For now, I'm going to be done with that. But I still have to get rid of my red words, don't I? So I go up here to Insert. I go to Page, Insert Duplicate Page, so it gives me an exact image. Okay, I'm going to go back and click the top one. I'm going to highlight my grid, go back to Home, my font color, and I'm going to make it black. And that will change every letter in the puzzle to black. Now look at that. You can't see where the words are. But I'm going to leave this one in my document with the red words, because if somebody bought this and maybe found it was a little bit too difficult, this would give them an answer sheet. So you've got your puzzle here with all the black letters, and you've got your answers here. And that's it. That is how you make a word search. Now when you print it, none of these dotted lines in the grid, you see there's lines between, those won't show. Let me go up here and show you. If I go to File and Print, you can see here, this is what it's going to look like. So none of those little lines are going to print. This is my puzzle. All right, well, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked this video and found it useful, would you please click the like button, and please subscribe to my channel so you can check out my other videos on how to make your printables perfection. Thanks. See you soon.